What's going on, guys? Rockley AC here, bringing you guys a deck profile from the new World Martial Arts Tournament set from the Dragon Ball Super card game by Bandai. This time I'm bringing you guys a blue leader by the name of Uub. Of course, the reincarnation of Majin Buu from the series. He got his own card and basically decided to pilot him for the last two events, and I ended up doing 6-1, undefeated in the first day. Second day, I went 2-1. So, wanted to show you guys what kind of ideas to expect from him. He's nothing too crazy if you build this way. It's a mono blue version, but it does have some new cards for the new sets. So, let's just go ahead right into it. Uub is a blue leader who's pretty generic in the front part. When this card attacks a leader card, you draw a card. When your life is 4 or less, choose 2 of your energy, switch him to active mode. On his awakened side, he becomes Uub, Unknowing Power. Auto, when his card attacks, draw a card. And then activate main, choose 1 card from your life and add it to your hand. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and return it to its owner hand. And this card gains plus 5k for the duration of the turn, which is insane. So that's really, really powerful. You can activate this more than once per turn. You could send a couple cards back to your opponent's hand if you feel like it, or if you feel like it's a threat, like blockers. I've sent somebody's cell, like level 7, back to their hand. So I mean, it's very powerful, and it's really useful for when you want to kind of go all in, basically. So let's go ahead with the deck. This is a mono blue version, so I mean, half of it's going to be pretty linear and kind of just like boring, but with the new sets added, it makes it a lot more interesting. So let's go ahead with a defense package. You run 4 Whis Coercion. Real, typical staple. Helps you keep some energy open, and you need negates against those aggro decks out there. Next, I'm running only 3 announcer. I felt like 3, total of 7 negates was good in this format, because it's not super aggro. You have to really just worry about storm decks like blue-red. But the ability for the announcer to be like a nice vanilla negate is awesome. And then also during your turn, if you play this card and if you have 2 or more World Tournament cards in play, you get to draw 2 cards. So it's a nice 1 for 2. A lot of you could expect a lot of newer decks coming out of the new set to play the announcer engine. Next is my super combos. So from the new World Tournament, this is our new blue super combo. Combo with this if you lead a card's World Tournament, and if you have 5 or less, draw a card, gains plus 5k. So the ability to be able to use a super combo early, again, is nice. Most people don't stall, but for this part, it's not too bad. Then I ran 2 Unbreakable Super Saiyan Son Goku. This was just a tech choice of mine. You could run 4 if you want, but you're not like SS3 or Soul Striker where you're always going to have energy open. But, you do untap 2 if you decide to awaken, but most, this is really nice for like the defense card and the extra draw power. You're a blue leader, so Unyielding Spirit Trunks helps you extend plays, helps you, depending on the mana and the board state, allow you to drop like 2 link cards, which you'll see later. So that's very powerful to put a lot of aggro onto the field if you decide to. Also one of the best cards in the game, Sensu Bean. It just has so many uses, against storm decks, still run Bardoks, against like Pan decks who want to attack you multiple times, just for that survivability, and also, again, just to extend your plays if you want to be aggressive. The other half of the announcer, where he says where his hands are up, the ones where his hands are up, you get to search the top 7 for a World Tournament card, put it in your hand, and then shuffle your deck. This is a great generic searcher for all World Tournaments. I mean, that's why this card is very valuable, because it could be used in multiple decks. So get used to him. He's going to be seen throughout the tournament scene. I ran 3 Awakening Talent Pan. I felt like 3 was a good number. Your opponent's going to most likely attack you anyways, so you don't really have to use this. And besides, this goes back to your hand at the end of the turn, so you could always drop her, hit for 15k, grab a life, put her back to hand, and do the same thing over again. It comes back to your hand as like a nice combo piece. 4 I think was a little too much, so I think 3 was like the nice sweet spot. So she basically like a Kaba, she just goes back to the hand, doesn't do crit or double strike. Onto the first set of link cards. I ran 4 awkward situation Trunks and then 4 awkward situation Otokatsuki. Let's put these guys as a link together. Yeah, so basically, for 2 energy, you can activate once per turn. Choose one awkward situation Otokatsuki in your battle area and place it at the bottom of a owner's deck. If your leader card is World Tournament, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So with him, you could play him from hand with Trunks on the field. So his permanence says if this Trunks is in play in your battle area and this person is not, you can play this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. So you play Trunks, you play him, swing with him for 15k, activate Trunks, put him back to the bottom of your deck, and then that's activate once per turn. If your leader card is World Tournament, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So this card was really helpful in the first tournament that I ran, just because it was like a lot of early board clear. And blue doesn't have a lot of inherent board clear, so it's nice to have something like this to kind of utilize as a toolbox if you need to. And the 2 15Ks, you know, in one turn is very powerful. So you're cycling through cards, I guess, kind of moderately with the announcer. But if you have these 2 like link cards, and you need to get rid of like a problem card, maybe like a blocker or something like that, or another link piece, this is really good. You know, as long as they don't have barrier and stuff. So it helped in the first tournament. In the second tournament, I actually ran Hercule and Pan just to test it out, and I didn't like it as much. But I think I had to build a little bit differently. But anyways, on to the next link cards. 4 test of strength Son Goku, 4 test of strength Uub. This is no stranger to the hype of the card. These cards are incredibly powerful. Test of strength Son Goku. When you play this card, if your leader card is World Tournament, you may choose 1 test of strength Uub from your hand and play it. If you do so, both this card and that card gains plus 5k for the duration of the turn. So this becomes a 20k double strike when it's played. And Test of Uub has critical. So when you play this card, and Son Goku is in your battle area, you choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards with 20k or less power, place them at the bottom of their owner's deck. So that's nice for board clear again. Like a lot of the 20ks are average like 4 drops. So even if you get like a 4 drop that's like has like maybe like double strike or something like that, you can put them back to like the bottom of the deck, which is nice. It's a nice board clear. Again, a lot of decks, like some World Tournament decks, might have like a field of like announcers and maybe like Videl negates and stuff. So it's a nice like little way so that your opponent can't combo so much. But for the most part, giving it 20k and critical really forces your opponent to kind of waste cards from their hand. And this card was very helpful throughout the tournament. The main MVP of this deck was Vegito. This card pretty much was a problem for everybody. I'd like to say I won most of my games because of Vegito. He's just so strong. Permanent, if your leader card is blue and this card is in rest mode, this card gains barrier, and your opponent's cards can attack your leader card. When you play this card, if you have 5 or more energy, draw a card. So that's a potential to draw a card, and your opponent has to always attack this guy. And he's a 20k, so your opponent's going to always have to waste 1-2 cards at least from their hands. And then if they really want to go all in, dump their hand. This card was helpful against like Hercule. Hercule had a huge hand, but they had like small bodies. So being able to swing with Vegito, they're wasting 2-3 cards while I'm pumping up out of it. Then they got to do it again next turn if they really want to try to attack my leader. It's just very powerful. So this was able to stem off of that large 14-15 card hand that Hercule generally gets. And then also just against like multiple decks, I actually made one big mistake for my second tournament, which is what I lost to Mira. I actually killed him when he was in rest mode. My opponent brought out a Mass Saiyan to pop a character out, and you know, I pretty much just popped him up. I didn't take it back just because he was able to do some other plays after that, but I felt kind of salty and yeah, whatever. But anyways, don't forget that he has barrier when he's rested if he's blue, so he's extremely powerful and he still poses a threat because of that barrier lock. And then I also ran for the main deck 2 Mass Saiyans. I expected this to have a large showing of like small drops, like weenies, and you know everyone is playing like announcers. Everyone's playing like the small 1 cost, 2 cost cards, even just like the 3 drop link cards. So, you know, just getting rid of one of the link cards, and then maybe like a 1 drop is very powerful. So Mass Saiyan, I think in this format is not that bad to add to your main deck. If not, especially side deck for that. So that's main deck. Sideboard. Went with 3 Mafubas. Mafuba's really good against like the mirror matches. So if somebody else is running like Vegito, Bergamo, U7 stuff, like stuff that I know I'll have trouble with. Mafuba's is always a great card to cancel out effects, even like link cards and stuff. 2 Pilaf, he's there for like the extra spice. If I feel like I needed you know, answers to certain keywords. Somebody was like running a super aggressive, like a double strike Vegeta crit with all the new cards. You know, running like the 8 double strike cards with the new whatever Kai that gives it double strike. Stuff like that. I mean, it's there as like a nice backup, and it's a blue blue card for combos. Yajirobe's, again, is something that I can't answer. That's very, very powerful that I want to be killed. Maybe like Keflas or something like that. Something that's just like very annoying when they attack, forces your opponent to think twice. SS3 Dragon Fist, just for like mirror matches or something that prolongs the game state, like another stall card. I had him in the main deck in the first tournament. I really only saw him like once, but he was helpful. He was able to bounce back stuff like the barrier analyzers, barrier piccolos, so that you know they don't prevent you from doing what you need to do, and it untaps energy. But it's a nice backup card. Never really used it. 2-time Chronoa, I think too is great. Not too many people are playing Shigesh combos and stuff, but it's there as a backup. It still draws cards. It's still a combo piece. So I think 2 Chronoas are mandatory in every sideboard. 2 Haru, mostly against again like Android matchups, which I surprisingly played a lot of green. I played Brawly, played Androids and Mira in the past 2 events that I went to, but most people aren't playing like the green yellow. But for these past 2 events, I've played against 4 greens. And then 2 Scientist Foos, in case I need to go against like other decks that do have that large hand size. Hercule, Trunks, Hurdigarn, Chain Attack stuff, Cell Chain. It's just there. Yeah, so this deck performed pretty well. It's just you know, it has its strengths and weaknesses. The first event I went against a Mono Red Hercule. First event I went undefeated. I went against Mono Red Hercule, Brawly movie, the new movie promo, which is pretty cool. I had the Brawly engine plus the Piccolo Analyza. And then third round was Blue Red Hercule, which had a lot more survivability, scary hand size, and I don't know how I pulled out of that. My opponent only had 2 cards left in his deck just because he was drawing so many cards, and I don't know how I survived that, honestly. It was pretty much just Vegito. And then the extra game was against, like, I think Android, Cell Chain, so I won against that one. Second event that I went to, played against Mono Yellow Jiren. I think he tried to get out the Jiren, Quadruple Strike, so I was able to beat him beforehand, which Mono Blue usually doesn't do. It kind of pushes more towards the mid-range late game, but I had to be aggro in this time. Round 2, I went against the World Martial Arts Tournament Son Goku deck with Feet Kamehameha. That was a fun deck to go against. Shoutouts to him. He's actually one of my YouTube followers, so I remember when he first started the game months back, and then I met up with him again, and then yeah, great guy. I was excited to see him play the new Feet Kamehameha with that. Beat him, and then round 3 was against the Mira Cell Chain, which I lost to that, and unfortunately, again, that's what I said. I accidentally killed my Vegito when it shouldn't have because it had barrier on it. So that was a big trash move on me, but you know, noobish things. He ended up getting first for that event. Anyways, yeah, I think Uub's pretty solid. I think he has a lot of good defense just because of the inherent blue. You have stuff like Sensu Beans and Whis Corrosion and stuff like that. But also, you know, it has great board clear. Again, like with his Awakened side, I didn't use it as much, but I got to be able to choose one card from my life, add to my hand, and bounce back a battle card to its owner's hand. So certain situations like blockers, evolved cost cards, like really high drops, like those just bounce back to the opponent's hand so that they don't have a threat. Is extremely powerful. And then you have stuff like the Goku Uub combo that puts 2 to the bottom. And then you have the Trunks Okatsuki combo, whatever, that KOs card. So it has a lot of board clear in this kind of deck, which is nice. And you can only play those cards with the World Tournament leader. So it gives blue the flexibility of board clear, which I think it never really had. But at the same time, you can still be controlled with cards like Vegito and your defense cards. On the downside, I don't think it has a much hand size, so you're going to have to play around that. Just against like decks that you'll always see will have like the large hand size is that you know, blue-red Hurrigarn, yellow-blue Hurrigarn, the Pan decks, Hercule decks. I mean, those cards will be in the meta announcer. They'll always have they'll generally always have more cards than you, so you have to really play around that and kind of put a lot of pressure on like your opponent's board stage. Just being able to get rid of those cards first, so your opponent has to always stall, and then you can get your Vegitos out, and then, you know, try to win through there. Also, like Jackie Chun. Jackie Chun is just like a hard counter to like stuff like Vegito and Bergamo, because when you're attacking in rest mode, I can't combo out. So Jackie Chun pretty much kills the Vegito like kind of lock. So yeah, and there's other decks that I haven't really tested against. You know, I guess like the main meta decks, because a lot of the people now are still experimenting. But for a larger tournament, say like you're going to like an ARG or regional, maybe you could probably tweak this around. Maybe you could make this like blue, red, blue, yellow, or something like that, and kind of just really put in more meta cards. For the most part, this is pretty much like a generic blue staple deck with added martial arts tournament cards, but it performed really well, and you know, I'm just wanted to share this with you guys, see what you guys think. I know I did put in some staple cards like the combo Gohan that gets put in play, certain stuff like that. It's not too control. I wanted to be a little bit aggro, but at the same time control too. So you know, I have a mix of aggressive cards like the World Martial Tournaments stuff, and then, you know, control like Vegito. But if you guys see anything that you guys want to modify in this deck, please let me know. Leave a comment. I greatly appreciate it. Again, it sucks I can't go to any of the regional events, or I never even went to any of the invitationals due to work and stuff. So I'm not going to any of these regionals, but I'll be putting up a lot of these decks that I have been testing and that I like a lot. And you know, see what you guys think. Just put up some content for you guys to look at, and you know, rate, comment, subscribe. Let me know, you know, what other decks you guys are brewing up, because this tournament, this World Martial Arts tournament, definitely opened up more like the metagame, especially with the SS3 being banned. It's great seeing, you know, multiple leaders in top cut, and you know, somebody take Uub and make it known, just like you know, all the other unique leaders out there. So thank you guys for your support and watching, and I catch you guys next time. Peace out.